go have some fun.
And we're back. Episode 6. Here with good friend, great lover of many things, Ryan Kissick, talking about individualism and expression. So you probably know Jacob and I by now, so I'll let Ryan take the stage and introduce himself a little bit and let you know a little bit more about him and what he does.
Yes, sir. It's me, guys. Ryan Kissick. I enjoy women, wine, long walks on the beach, and I like Jacob. I'm also doing a degree in biomedical science.
I thought you were just going to stop it there. I like Jacob.
That's what I heard.
I was like, all right, yeah.
I like Jacob and Sebastian, of course. Don't feel too left out, Sebastian.
It's all right.
Anyway, so I'm doing biomedical science in my third year. It's been a wild ride. Pretty good. Grades are good. Doing also like Jacob, am trying to pursue medicine as a career, but we'll see how that works out because it's too hard, honestly. Too much effort to put in.
Yeah.
Just going with the wind.
Going with the flow. Anyway, so guys, isolation. Hobbies?
Isolation things. Yeah, just that's one of the main reasons we started a podcast, I guess, to sort of fill some of the time, share some thoughts.
I think once COVID is over, Seb, we're going to have to do this one in person, I reckon.
Yeah, we'll have Kissick on again in person.
We'll have him on again.
I'm calling it now. I will be back for episode 36. I'll be back on episode 36.
Noting it down.
36. Forget the 20. I'll be back on the 36.
36.
Seb, we're going to record 2,000 episodes.
Right.
Oh my God. You know how many weeks that is? You know how many weeks that is?
80 years old. 80 years old. I'll be here in the studio recording podcast with you.
100%.
Seb, we're going to be doing this for 39 years.
Yeah.
I don't mind. It'll be cool to see how our
episodes.
thoughts progress and evolve over time.
Yeah.
I think both of you being bio students, medicine students in a sense, probably have an interesting view on sort of self-expression, because I feel like when you work in a hospital, you kind of have to be a bit more rigid, almost like a wooden chair, what one might say. So if you guys just want to touch on that and maybe sort of talk about how some of the creative outlets you sort of explored have allowed you to maybe sort of become a little bit more of a looser chair, unscrew some of those nuts and bolts.
Are we touching on the chair part, or are we touching on the hospital?
No, we're talking about
we'll touch on
the rigidity of life.
Yeah, I'll say first again. I'll say again.
Yeah.
That just the way I've been exposed to science, kind of like very much, especially during high school, it's very much matter of fact, like this answer is the answer. It is what it is. And there's not much variation to how you like come to that conclusion. But I'm not saying all science is like that, because you can come up with your own hypotheses and then do your own way of how to come to conclusions. So there is room for like individuality in science and theories, because that's all science is. It's all about coming up with new theories, breaking the rules.
But isn't scientists and like doctors sort of, are they different?
Very.
I reckon.
Yeah.
Very.
Kind of, because there's like cell mechanisms, they're studied, and there's not much room. Once they're studied, it's like that's how it works. You can't find another way of how this works, kind of thing. And I don't know. I feel I've definitely been, because of that, I have been in like a creative rut for many years, finding it hard to express myself, trying
Well, it's kind of.
TikTok for hobbies.
I feel like people would find that interesting because I feel like even in high school, you always were, always
You
the,
reckon?
you're always the
Always
funny one,
funny.
always the
You
one
reckon?
to like push in the boundaries
mean,
of humor and stuff. So it's
there
not
was that oral I did in year 10, the child beauty pageants.
like, oh, see, that's what I'm saying.
Were
Like
you in that
that
class?
that takes,
Were you in
yeah,
that
I
class, Jacob?
remember that.
I was. It takes a lot of balls and a lot of creativity, really, to.
Threw
Was that
a
was that in
curveball
English?
along.
Was that in English class? I was pretty sure
It was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wrote a full introduction on why child beauty pageants are bad. Did the switch up. Hollywood stars and celebrity. Hollywood remakes. Bad.
What did you get for that again? I feel like
I think like a C.
yeah, was it as Marty's class?
Yeah.
Joyce.
Yeah. Oh, Miss.
It was Mrs.
Oh no,
Mrs.
it was Joyce. It was Joyce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't look very impressed, but
I do.
it was a
agree with
great
Ryan,
speech.
Thanks,
Hollywood
guys.
remakes suck. Is that what you agree
Hollywood
with?
remakes. Hollywood has no original ideas. It's all regurgitating the same 3 movies all over and over again.
I do agree with Ryan both about the movies and the science.
Hmm.
I think because Ryan and I we both studied science in high school, but I think Ryan studied a lot more of the. Did you do psychology as well? Or was it just the physics and chemistry?
I did physics and chemistry, so that's definitely
See, I did biology,
like contributing to it. Yeah.
which is a little bit different. Like if you, like, there's a lot of even in like people probably like, oh, what does physics have to do with biology? Everything. Like there's so many things that are
There's
physics
a whole
dependent.
unit we have to do on biophysics and how
like
fluid mechanics
enzyme
work and
based.
stuff.
Enzymes are literally entirely physical. Like
Hmm.
you know they've got to hit at the right angle with enough force. Like you can't have this world without that entire physical reaction. And even when you're coming to conclusions about stuff, I think I think the difference between a doctor and a scientist is that a science, there is that clinical aspect to being a doctor. Like you have to know, as a doctor, you have to have very good spatial recognition. So you got to be able to remember things kind of off the top of your head. Like if you're a scientist or a researcher, you kind of have that information available to you the entire time. Like you've learnt it as well, but I think there's a bit more in terms of physical interaction with patients. Obviously doctors have a lot more, but they kind of need to be aware of like also the mechanisms of stuff. But yeah,
doctors don't always have like that like textbook answer to like say patients come up to them with like, oh, a rash. There's like a million different reasons that rash could exist. So it's like, oh, you have to take into consider social factors of like different kinds of things. And some doctors are wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Not all
like,
doctors.
Not everyone's perfect though. Like doctors are going to get something wrong eventually. Same with scientists. Like there's no doubt about it, and people make mistakes and all that. But I think doctors are held to that kind of level
Standard.
Because then they can't afford to make huge mistakes. Like if you have a doctor that misdiagnoses something and then they give someone the wrong medicine, massive downstream factors or problems that can arise from that. And I think with a rash, it's like dependent on like the environment you're in, like where you go to school, where you live, the country that you live in. Like there's certain rashes that could be caused by bacteria that only exists here, not in Europe or something like that. And I think that's what doctors kind of have to know, where I think research assistants or scientists are kind of more the mechanism behind everything. Like if you're a microbiologist, you're learning about microbes and what they do to the body. Whereas if you're a doctor, you kind of need to know all of them, plus how to, diagnose,
how to fix it, how to
treat,
all the clinical kind of aspects about it.
Yeah, but that's interesting because you guys both sort of come from a bit more of a rigid sort of area of study, whereas I did like humanities and stuff. And it's interesting how some, especially now, maybe STEM sort of subjects are looked upon as highly regarded, whereas the subjects where you are allowed to sort of have like original thoughts aren't.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to sort of, I don't know, maybe hear what you guys think. Do you guys, because I know you have creative outlets now, like TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is maybe helping you find your creative flow once again, stepping out of that like rigidity.
I'll say in year 12, did Jacob's camera just flip? Sorry.
Not for me, no.
All right.
Wait, did it flip for you?
It
flipped?
in the corner of my eye, it looked like it flipped. No, never mind. It's fine. In Nin 12, I did history revolutions as an elective, and I feel like history definitely is like you have to look at the events and then come up with your own opinions on how like certain characters in during that event felt at the time or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know, since I was like still in that like science, like it is what it is mindset during high school, I always felt, oh, there has to be one answer to this. There is only one answer to this. My interpretation on the events is not right. So I feel like now I've picked up a couple of hobbies to try and help express myself, try and get like help express my interpretation of things, be like creative. And TikTok is definitely one of them. I'm uploading on TikTok. I'm trying to the goal of my TikTok is to get famous, obviously.
Okay.
I'm gonna be in the Daily Mail. I'm gonna be the next.
It's the new
Charlie
platform, so
Gallagher.
why not?
Yeah.
Well, what's the yeah? I was gonna say, what's the tag?
What's the username?
Oh, I don't want to.
We'll put it in. We'll put it on.
Let's do it. I need to
It's
research.
just-
I need to look at it afterwards anyway, so I need to know myself.
It's just at Ryan Kissick.
At Ryan
there
Kissick.
you go.
Easy.
Yeah.
I should have guessed too.
You see, even that I could have been creative with my name.
At lover of women.
At lover of women. At lover of wine and women. Walks on the beach.
Well, I think when it's a creative outlet,
Sad.
having your name is fine.
Yeah.
Like
think
even
that-
like our podcast name, it's just our names really. It just allows you
Jacob's
to
passion. Yeah.
understand
yeah.
us more.
We were-
We're not
see,
hiding
we were
behind
very
some
plain.
alias, right?
To the point. Yeah.
So we were going to call
Sorry.
it. One of the other ideas for a name was the Jake and Seb podcast, but people don't know me as Jake. Like, there's only a few people that ever actually call me Jake.
I was never gonna call him Jake. I
Yeah.
told him that.
Well, you could call me Jacob, but I think Jake and Seb just kind of flowed a bit better than Jacob and Seb. But now looking back at it, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like the name
Yeah.
is the name now.
Plus,
Jacob and Seb,
it's one of those things. It's like right now, my name or Jacob's name or your name doesn't mean anything. Even like Michelangelo is just a name, right? It's just a bunch of sounds that we put together.
Just a social
Like,
construct. It
it's-
means
How
nothing. It's
dare
how we
you?
refer
He's
to each
one.
other.
He's one
If
of the
you
Ninja
can,
Turtles.
if you can put something behind it and like build credibility behind it, then it's something, right? So I think
Yeah.
any name you give, even if it's just your name, it's like it is nothing until you make it something, really. So
You bring meaning to it.
Creativity.
You bring a new meaning.
In
Which
terms of, in
that's a
terms
whole
of
other topic.
adding on to what Ryan said, though, whole other topics and everything. In terms of the subjects that you do at high school, I think there's a lot of debate about like why people have to do certain subjects. Like why do we have to do math? Why do we have to do a science subject, humanities subject, etc. When you're going like from year 7 to year 10? I think it's really good because I think everyone should know. Like I'm of the opinion that everyone should know a little bit of science, not necessarily to the depth that Ryan and I know about science, but everyone should know a bit of science. Everyone should know a bit of humanities. Everyone should do art at some point. Like they're all valuable skills you can learn in the future. Like even when we're doing assignments, even though we are a science, science study, there are assignments in which we have
Still
to have
to use
creative input, math,
Yeah.
humanities. Like it's history of stuff as well. It's not just everything's kind of connected, and like as well as I think everyone should have a first aid. Like everyone should know how to do first aid. I think that's another thing that people should strive for. So that variety, as much as there is debate about, why we have to do these exams, why we have to, study these subjects, I think everyone should, because it's not often that you get the opportunity, especially if you go to like a public school or something, to learn these in the future. Like you'd have to go out of that, not necessarily your comfort zone, but the place that you are to actually learn these things instead of, learning them at school anyway. I think learning them along the way is probably better, making the most of everything like that. So
It's like, you have those people that say the school system is broken, which I kind of agree with, but kind of don't, because like those same people say, oh, schools should teach us taxes. Schools should teach us things we're actually going to use in life.
Yeah.
But reality is you could learn how to do taxes with like a 5-minute YouTube video.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't need a whole course to teach you. And like, I feel like high school's more like, especially they did give us the choice with like TAFE stuff, because you could drop out of VCE, do TAFE in year 10, and then pursue like a trade as a career. And then anyone that wanted to do VCE courses, it's like the foundation of your knowledge that you'll then expand on in uni if you want to go to uni. And then, I mean, even if you don't, like, just the basic math skills, like common sense that you learn in high school, it's like still going to use them eventually in life.
Yeah, it's valuable.
Exactly.
I was
going to say, I think that every subject you can argue you're not going to use it, right? It's like, oh, I'm not going to use it. I think school is really just there to teach you how to think, right? And I think that's where I've always enjoyed humanities subjects, because especially now, like, we live in an age where information is at our fingertips. Like, if you want to learn taxes, it's not the school. The school has no obligation to teach you certain things. They just have to teach you how to think, and how to think critically. And that way you can use that skill to just go out and research and find out yourself. It's just a lot of people want things handed to them. And I think they're expected that, like, in that first 18 years of their life, everything that should just be given to them so life will be easy. But life is hard. And I was told that by a 6-year-old, and that just sort of emphasizes the whole point of that statement. So
I think on that TAFE thing though, Ryan, I think it's an important part of high school, because you're either going to have that knowledge of a specific, like, people can go like study humanities units for the entirety of their VCE. They can study science units, math units. But if you're going to TAFE, I think TAFE now by standard has to have like math subjects and English subjects anyway for, basic recall, etc. But Seb and I have had the opportunity, like, even the workplace that Seb worked with me, it's a solar company. So, like, even though I never did TAFE, I'm still learning these skills, and I might not be qualified to actually implement them, but, like, say in a situation where it would be handy to have those skills, I have them. It's, we tried something new, I think that the TAFE aspect is, like, I would have loved to experience TAFE. That would have actually been awesome. Like, obviously I can't now unless I did a trade, but I think doing these things, like, there's no point me doing a trade and then studying what I'm studying. But I think learning a little bit of each skill is, back on what I was saying before, learning a bit of each skill is valuable.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
But is that not a problem though? Like,
exactly.
I feel like I'm a bit of a generalist, but I feel like in this current economy, only specialists are really rewarded and ultimately paid a good salary. So it's almost like you do just have to knuckle down on one specific subject and just specialize if you want to succeed.
Just like you were talking about last week. You have to give 100%, 100% effort.
150% into one thing, right?
Yeah.
But
I agree with that, but I think everyone should learn, like, a bit of everything. Like, it's not, especially if you're given the choice, like, learn something. Don't shy away from it. Like, if I learned how to sew 2 weeks ago. Like, why would I don't know why I would ever need to sew, but I learned how to do it because, it's a skill that could be handy in the future. Like,
good thing you brought up sewing, Jacob, because I've been big into fashion recently. I've chosen the worst time to pick up fashion as a hobby.
Yep.
And because, I can't flex my drip in my own house.
Isn't that what Instagram is for?
You could.
Yeah,
you could.
But I don't know. I don't post too much on Instagram. I want to, because again, with like self-expression, individuality, there's all like fashion is definitely like an avenue to express yourself, I think. Because, all right, I have opinions on fashion. The loafer look.
Go for it.
The white boy loafer look, no socks, no show socks, shorts.
Oh, you mean like the yacht, sort of the yacht look? Okay.
It is awful. That's not fashion. That's disgusting.
It's not fashion. It's
disgusting.
That it's almost like a uniform. Like because
but
so many people wear it. It's sort of like
so many
wearing
people wear it. It's like, yeah,
a status symbol, right? It's not
Hmm.
like you said. It's not really for self-expression. It's purely for signaling to the opposite sex, usually
that they're rich.
my
Yeah, okay.
wealth or my parents' wealth in most kids' cases.
But
Like Ryan.
even that's boring. Like I see that and I think, oh, you're just a boring person. There's nothing fun about you. Wear something cool. Wear like
School shorts after high school.
wear your school uniform when you're 40 years old. That's cool. No. Anyway, I wanted to pick up. I'm all right at sewing. I want to do more to like, because I have so many old clothes that I want to wear again, but they just don't look good in my current like fashion sense. But I'm just jumping around at this point. I watch YouTube videos on fashion tips, and there's this one I watched recently. I was like, oh, 10 fashion tips to get the lady. It's gonna.
And what did you learn? What are the 10 fashion?
I did not learn.
What's the main takeaway?
I did not learn a single thing because one of the first tip, I think it was the first tip. It was like, women don't care about your Air Jordans. They care about loafers. They care about the loafer, no-show socks.
That's actually what they said in the video. That's whack.
Like, okay, I'm turning this off. That is not good.
Wait, was it narrated by a guy or a girl?
It was a guy. Sorry, you know.
They don't really know.
Guys,
they're just guessing what the other sex want.
Yeah. But like, I have a pair of Air Jordans, and I've not yet.
What do you think? Do you think girls are into? Because obviously guys wear it for a reason. Like it must work or something. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But do you think they do it because it works, or because does actually expressing yourself and wearing something a bit more colorful and like creative not attract the women?
Well, let's look at the facts here. I don't own a pair of Air Jordans. Therefore, I can't test this hypothesis.
No, it's loafers. Air Jordan. Get rid of the Air Jordans.
I don't even own a pair of loafers. No.
Boat shoes?
No. I own like dress shoes, but not boat shoes. Like, I don't own a pair, so therefore I can't test the hypothesis. Ryan, we should send you out on a mission once this is over.
I'm in quarantine.
No, when quarantine is over, we're going to send you out on a mission and you're going to come back with feedback.
I will walk up to a group of women wearing boat shoes, no-show socks, khaki shorts, a blue button-up shirt, and then I will do the same wearing what I think looks good.
What's your drip? I want to know.
What's my drip? I bought these pair of KFC Croc collab, the official KFC and Croc collab.
All right.
They are coming in the mail next week. Estimated delivery next week. It's all about.
Love it.
Trust. They are worth every. I have no regrets. They cost so much. I have no regrets at all.
But is this something new? Were you? Because I don't remember you always wearing such like out there expressive stuff. Because I feel like I've also been trying to sort of move away from that herd mentality of I don't know, loafers and whatever, to something a bit more colorful. Or
I've always cared about. I've always tried to put effort into what I look like. I mean, some days I'm like, oh, I'll just wear trackies and a t-shirt because no one's gonna see me. Yeah. But when I'm out in public, it's definitely a more recent thing because, like, I have JobKeeper is just so much money.
It's phenomenal how that works. Yeah. I don't even have it, but it just seems phenomenal.
I don't have it either.
Sorry, that seemed like too much of a brag. I'm being responsible with my money. I'm saving for a car. But right. I also,
if they're giving it to you, you can do whatever, right?
I also want that drip. I'm buying clothes to look good, to express myself. And all right, my usual outfit is just a pair of white shoes and black pants, because the black pants and white shoes, that's a good contrast. Yeah. And then just on top, anything like really oversized is in, I hear.
Like a see-through.
Oversized is just comfortable.
Yeah, like comfort is definitely like also influencing what I wear, because sometimes
Because
big hoodie, comfortable, but it also looks good.
I've honestly just started looking at clothes as like a tool, right? Like anything.
Mm.
Like loafers aren't comfortable, so why am I going to wear loafers? Like if I can, I opt to wear like some runners or something that like allows me to do more activities and like not be afraid of maybe getting it dirty. Like I don't even like I've always bought like op shops and like I've just like that's just been instilled. But like I know you're pro individualism, so like I just want to know what are the benefits of KFC Crocs?
I think also
because they're probably not even that.
Right.
I don't know. They don't even seem like
Crocs are comfortable.
Oh, they are.
Crocs are comfortable. You need a proper pair of Crocs, and they have these little KFC giblets on them that apparently smell like real KFC. So that's exciting. I cannot wait for those to come in the mail.
so your
I'm
room's
going
going
to
to
be
constantly
rocking
smell
those.
like KFC.
You see, yeah.
But what
Do
if
you have a problem? Do you have a problem with that, Jake?
What
No,
if it was
I don't. That's brilliant.
an independent artist that nobody knows? Because I found it interesting because even though you're still talking about expressing your own self, it's interesting because KFC is still like a large corporation. They still have they have like status behind them. Like, what if it were to just be like unbranded plastic Crocs with random icons that some artist had put together that like myself that has no name, but you actually really liked them? Do they have like the same, would you buy them as well?
I reckon they're probably the KFC Crocs is a bit of a joke. Like I would there's more value to like an individual artist's work than a big corporation's. So and like yeah.
So just like, buying what you like. If you like KFC, it's like you buy it, right?
Just wear what you like. Don't base what you wear off of other people's opinions.
Yep. Especially of you. I think a lot of people, especially I think in high school, I was a bit of a conformist when it came to that sort of stuff. Like if my mates were going out, I'd wear the same things as they did because I didn't kind of really want to stand out. And I think now it's more so about especially in like a professional sense. Like I think a professional sense is a bit different to like what you want to wear. I think professionalism is kind of like say you're going for a job interview, obviously you're going to wear something nice that other people would probably wear. But if you're kind of like, if I'm at home right now, I'm just in jeans and a t-shirt, like I'm not necessarily trying to look good right now. But saying that, I think it is on what Ryan was saying. It's important to be comfortable in what you're wearing as well. Not like if you want to stand out, don't wear something that's not comfortable to you. Like you have to still be comfortable in something. And I think that's important in terms of individuality and not how people think of you. I don't think you should worry about what people think of you, especially in terms of what you wear.
Yeah, especially I was going to say I've stumbled across stoicism this week, and I think a lot of the time you just stumble across things when you're ready for it. Strangely enough, like it just sort of comes to you. And one of the main things about stoicism is like to just not to control the things you can control and not care about the things you can't control. And like what people think about you ultimately is something you really can't control. So one of the Cato, I think, was the Stoic who did it, would often wear very outlandish things, like very outlandish things in public to express himself. And basically he would know it's humiliating, like intentionally humiliate himself just to sort of realize that doesn't faze him. And so I think maybe some people need to just like try that a little bit more. It's like just wear something for the sake of yourself and not take on that external humiliation and realize kind of that there are certain situations and things where it's like it is pointless to worry about what people are thinking, especially when it's something so trivial as your clothing. So
Mhm.
I thought that was something really interesting when I found out this week.
I'm actually reading it right now. It's really interesting.
Yeah, because even the whole idea of our podcast, I've found that I've maybe been a little bit more comfortable doing sort of, a little bit more silly things in public, especially with like the bonus episode that we published. That was just raw us, and having that there and realizing that what people think about that doesn't matter to us is like completely trivial. It's really freeing in a sense. And I think that's a nice practice maybe people want to try.
Like I agree with that. Don't let what others think of you like restrict what you do to an extent, because obviously you can go too far with like doing things that others don't agree with, and then you get cancelled. Yeah.
Oh, but depends. If it's warranted, yeah. But like for some trivial things, it's
And also, I'd hate to blur the flow of the convo.
So when the 40 minutes runs out, we'll just end and restart. Yeah, that's right.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, we all went to a religious school.
No, let's not bring any religion into this. That's gonna get us definitely cancelled.
No.
But I know you're talking about celebrities. I know you're talking about celebrities. Let's talk about celebrities because you can't get cancelled for that. Because it's interesting how people like
celebrities can.
Nah, whatever.
Celebrities.
Because merch in general, right? Like people are very comfortable wearing a shirt with Kanye's head on it. But what if they were to print their own face and put it on it? Like, it's interesting how people hold people to such high standards, right? It's like, I'm comfortable wearing a different person's head that I don't know at all. I think I know them because I listen to their music. But somebody like, even just my friend who I understand deeply, I'm not comfortable wearing a t-shirt with their face on it because nobody knows them really.
I would. You saw, both of you saw the shirt I wore that one night. the FBI.
Yeah.
I can't remember. No.
But I think it's like you're kind of people think it's like the highest form of flattery to wear something of someone else's. Like if they say you're buying like, I don't know, a Kanye West t-shirt, like you're like people like at Kanye on Twitter saying, look what I bought because, I like you and your music. And I think he doesn't need to know that people like his music. People like his music because his music's good. Like, well, some people like his music, some people don't. So obviously the people that like his music are going to buy his merchandise. And I think people hold him to that, higher level because of who he is internationally. Like, he's not just a national star, he's international, like he's everywhere. I think the problem specifically with people that are, international stars, like, I don't know, who's a really big star that you'd buy merch of? So not that you would buy merch, but
I don't know. You could just use Michael Jordan. He's pretty big. Let's be real.
Yeah. I think it's, people that, there's that song by, what's his name? Macklemore, Wings. I remember, I know a friend of ours actually did a music report on that.
Yeah, it was Jai and I. We did it in like year 8.
Yeah. And it was about how, people are giving into that, or consumers are kind of giving into like, I have to have the latest fashion trends. I have to buy these Jordans because, they're going to make me better at basketball. Like, they have to. Like, there's no other option there. Like, I think it's all about
fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I look the part, I will be the part.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was the point I was trying to reach.
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
But that's crazy because that's just a belief system you create in your head. Like marketing just makes you believe that Jordans make you jump higher. So like in your head, you think that by wearing them, you are going to jump higher. And like it actually, if you believe it that strongly, you might jump higher just due to the brain being a powerful thing. Yeah.
Placebos are a crazy thing.
They are.
Hey, I could cure cancer with a sugar pill. probably not that extreme.
There's been studies on that though. Like, people have been given a placebo and then their symptoms have disappeared, and because like obviously it's probably psychological if that's happened. Like, it's the body saying, okay, you're sick, so you're going to be sick.
I do feel like some your symptoms can be more extreme because of the psychology of it. Like
Oh,
oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
I have a rash. I'm going to die.
Mm.
I think it's
I have a rash. I have cancer. It's not good.
maybe
This
much
rash
Yeah,
is getting
if-
worse.
If you play it in your head, you're just going to get yourself sick, right?
Hmm.
Or you're going to be like hyper aware to things that maybe don't matter.
Yeah. Like, oh, I have a new freckle on my hand. That could be melanoma, or it could just be a freckle.
Mm.
But
I'm not gonna
think
get it checked.
I think it's like hormones in that though. Like if you're like say you're like super happy, you've got a crap ton of dopamine and serotonin in your system, and then you immediately find out, oh, you know, I might have lung cancer, something like that. You know, it's quite serious, blah blah blah. If people are there is the concept where the more positive you're thinking about a situation, the healthier you're going to be emotionally and physically. Like there's scientific basis on that. It's kind of just what I wanted to say there. Like, honestly, I'm kind of staring at this little sticker on my wall because I've run out of things to say. Go on about religion, Ryan. You were saying.
Oh, I was just gonna say this kind of ties back to like individuality and conformity. Like religion, I feel like it's a good thing to like belong to a religion, but it's also there's like a controlling aspect. There's like a desire to control in religion, because some people. I was raised religiously, kind of. Like I went to religious school. I did the sacraments, I think they're called. So, and there's a lot of things Christianity tells you that are bad, that you have to fear. Like I always thought, oh, I have to start a family. The first woman I make love to will be my wife, and we will have a family. We'll have a good Christian family. But I feel like I've grown out of that, definitely. Like I did not want to get married. I did not want to have kids. I want to be cool. So I want to get your guys' opinions on that, because you guys we all went to the same school. We went to the religious school. Do you think religion?
I think religion plays a big. I think people have the opinion that they're supposed to follow laws directly, especially religious sacraments. And I think you can still believe in something and not necessarily follow everything that particular, you know, either deity or religion tells you to do. Like, there's people deserve to have beliefs. Absolutely, it's a good thing to kind of have stuff that you believe in, whether or not, you know, that be something that other people don't necessarily believe in. Like, you know, I believe that, you know, science is amazing. People probably don't think that. Like, there's certain people that wouldn't. And whether or not you're talking about a religion, you know, certain people are going to believe in your god. Certain people are going to believe in however many gods are in, you know, Hinduism, like however many there is. Like, that's, to some people, that's probably unbelievable. And, you know, they obviously have certain laws that I think it's against, especially in a society where religion's kind of held to that standard. Like, you know, everyone in countries that follow Hinduism usually follows Hinduism. Like, there's not that big of a bracket that follow another religion there. So I think in terms of a society view, you've got people that, you know, you're almost breaking the law if you do something that doesn't abide by those rules. And I think in Australia, you know, there is a very, you know, we got Catholicism, we've got Islamic people here, we've got Muslimic people here. Like, we're incredibly diverse, and I think we're lucky to kind of have the options to decide what we want to do with ourselves. I think there is certain restrictions placed around different parts of the world, tying back onto that. And I also like to point out, I love the fact that we went from Kanye pooping pants to now religion.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch too much on it because I think my views are a bit strong, but I just think I posed this question a couple podcasts ago in the fact that if you're a Catholic in a Catholic country, when you go to a Muslim country, are those beliefs that strong that you're still a Catholic, even though the entire society is against you? Or are you going to change to fit into society? Because in my opinion, it almost seems like the religion is a nice way for people to fit in. Because when you really start expressing yourself a lot, you can sort of see it maybe in some of those sort of the minorities. Like the more they express themselves, the more they exclude themselves from everybody else. And like if you're happy with if you're really, because that's one of the problems with it, it's like you sort of start excluding yourself more and more. But if you're really comfortable with yourself and comfortable with that, then go ahead. But when you start like pushing it upon other people to fit in, it's because everyone ultimately wants to fit in. We're herd animals, right? So, but I just think, yeah, it's just one of those, another way for people to just sort of find something to align their beliefs with, so that everybody's the same and they all,
I think there's go on, Ryan.
I was just gonna say that's another thing. One of the big reasons I fell out was because of like believing less and less in religion, because like there's so many different religions and they all can't be right. So like, hey, I'm
well, they're all just trying to fill the void of what is the meaning of your life, because people aren't content with the whole idea that there is ultimately no meaning and that life is just meant
what it is.
It's just meant to be, right? But people just can't accept being, because it ultimately means they don't have a God-given purpose. Okay. And people's egos are so large that to accept that is very tough. So most people just fall into a religion to be like, oh yes, I have a purpose here. I am now full as a full bit person.
Yeah, as I said before, I think religions are there so that people can believe in something, or they have something to believe in. Whether people are looking for like something to believe in or a place to belong, religions kind of offer that. So it is good that religions exist, and absolutely you can believe what you want to believe in. But if you always have the extremists of a religion, of course, like we've seen that in the world so many times, especially recently, or in the last 20 years, you've seen extremists of almost every religion. And I think those are the kind of people that believe so strongly in something, like what they think they're doing is right. Like it's not like all of these people, have mental health issues, or it's the fact that they believe in something so strongly in terms of changing your mind when you go to another country. They believe in that so strongly that they do anything to protect, or they do anything for that religion or their beliefs.
But the problem is when they force it onto other people. Like, just because you're in a country where you're the minority doesn't mean you have to force it onto other people, right? And that's where the real conflicts begin, right? And you can see that all over the globe right now, where minorities are just fighting to become the majority. But it's like, and that's the problem, another problem with everyone becoming more and more individual, right? It's like unless you're really comfortable with yourself and you're a level-headed person, you're just going to go off the chains, really.
Yeah. Well, that again, you can believe what you want to believe in. Like if you're part of the way that religions have changed over the past 30 years or so is that you can believe what you want to believe in. But there's obviously certain religions that are a bit more strict than others. Like I'd say a lot of Middle Eastern religions, or not European-based religions, that's Catholicism anyway. But I think Catholicism and Christians are there is a bit of leniency when it comes to how people feel about that particular religion. Whereas, there's other religions that are, Muslimic, Islamic, Hinduism, that are they are more strict in the way that they operate, or in how they expect people to operate that do follow that religion.
In what sense?
In terms of you break a commandment, you're a terrible, terrible, terrible person. And I think there's
the same with Catholicism. You break it, you go into hell.
No, but I think with Catholicism and everything. I think, we were taught, you guys remember this, we were taught, forgiveness at school. I don't even think that's necessarily a religious, I think it is a religious point of view, but it's not. I think there is that religious point of view because they know that it is the right thing to do. Like you should forgive someone for doing something that's bad. It's not like it's just that religion's kind of, it's not like it is a critical aspect of that religion, but they know that it's right in that society. Whereas if you're talking about like a religion like, Hinduism or Islamic, I haven't studied those for an extended period of time, but I can imagine that, forgiveness wouldn't especially be, that big of a, especially in an Eastern culture, not a Western culture, wouldn't be that big of a aspect in that religion.
I don't know. I don't really feel like talking about something I don't have experience in because it basically means you're lying. But I know Eastern religion's very community based, whereas Western religion is very individual based. So I can only imagine that Eastern religions would actually push forgiveness even more because they focus on the whole rather than the individual. But like I said, if we don't have experience in it, we're just lying. So let's talk about things we know, like Catholicism.
Boys being boys, just locker room talk.
But I think,
locker room talk. Locker room talk that's being published on the internet.
Yeah.
These are the kind of things that you should talk about, though, because people.
If you have experience in it, yes, but you don't have experience in that's the problem.
It's all right to not have an opinion on something if you're not fully informed on what the subject is.
Yeah, I just can't imagine Eastern religions not emphasizing forgiveness, especially being very community-based religions.
I mean, I feel like an all-loving higher being is like a common theme in all religions. Like God is always forgiving, all-loving, which is kind of paradoxical considering, witches, the gays. Everything is a sin, but it's all right. You'll be forgiven if you follow God.
So what is the conclusion here then? I feel like now I'm more lost than when we started.
My conclusion is: what if we're all wrong and we all end up in like Egyptian hell? It's like, oh,
exactly.
with like Anubis and all
that.
But the thing is, if there's wrong, there must be right. So what's right? That's another thing, right?
I think
what's right and what's wrong.
In terms of individuality, I think what you think is right is what's right. Obviously, there's laws to abide by, but if you think something's right, and obviously you're still abiding by the rules, as in laws, like civil laws, like don't kill, don't steal, etc.
Yeah.
Then if you think it's right, do it. That's my basic opinion on it. Like if you think that something is right, we're taught or we're brought up on these morals. Like, and I'm certain that people that do follow a religion are probably brought up on completely different morals to what I was brought up on. Like there's things that they would do that I wouldn't do. There's things that I would do that they wouldn't do. And I think that's the importance of individuality. Like that, even in a religion, you should be offered individuality, no matter who you are or what you do.
The one thing I believe individuality is highly beneficial for is it allows you to think for yourself. It's like,
yes,
you're no longer allowing a religion or an Instagram influencer or anybody to tell you what you think you should be doing. Obviously, as long as it's within moral grounds of, laws and stuff, don't believe something that is indoctrinated to you. Have original thoughts, think about it, and then come to your own conclusion.
Exactly.
So
go
you
on,
go. Oh.
Go on. No, I'm gonna let
it's
you
always
go
tough
first.
with tough with three people.
This is the best thing. No, this is the best thing about doing it online. There's always that like half a second lag, so it's always talking over each other.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna sidestep for a bit. Like, some people do have trouble expressing their own opinions, so they like latch onto someone who share similar opinions with them and then just echo what they think, which I feel I do sometimes. Just everyday opinions I have. Like, I'd make a joke, but it's probably too extreme. Hitler.
No,
I completely agree with that guy. No, I'm kidding.
Master race.
that's what I was saying. Like, a couple of podcasts ago, I'm pretty sure I said this in another podcast, like the things that, you know, these dictators did were absolutely horrible, but there's no doubt from a historical standpoint that they were amazing leaders, like to that country. Obviously that country thought they were amazing. And, you know, you listen to some of the speeches that these dictators gave, you know, Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, the speeches are absolutely amazing. Like, you, again, from a historical standpoint, I agreed with nothing that they did, but again, you can have an opinion on a topic, and I think people are going to judge you for your opinion constantly. Like, anyone that's listening to this, don't form your opinions. Well, form your opinions about what we say, but also about what other people say. It's not just, you know, that no one's an expert on these issues unless you're literally meeting with someone that's, you know, studied this their entire lives. There's no,
even then,
you can still form your
you
opinions.
should, yeah. Like you should take into account what other people are saying, unless like they're completely off the ball. But take other people's opinions to form your own. Don't just echo. Don't just copy what other people are saying because it's hip and cool.
And I think the reason that religion is such a touchy subject is because people don't want to question other people's beliefs. As soon as you question someone else's beliefs, you're a terrible person. Like, there's nothing you could do to redeem yourself. You're saying you shouldn't believe in this. And again, when I was mentioning, you know, Eastern and Western, at no point did I say that nothing that anyone believed in was wrong. Like, people deserve to believe 100% in what they believe in. You know, that's their belief system. And again, when we were talking about ethics, was it last podcast ethics?
No, the one before.
It's been a while. One before that. You know, there's ethical values that, you know, I want to abide by, and that obviously Ryan wants to abide by. You know, I think in different situations it calls for a different view of ethics. I think ethics in terms of religion is not, obviously it's about what a religion does. Like, religions, you know, you have these certain things that you must do or you should follow. And I think there's an ethical protocol behind that that's kind of not covered in any other belief system or ethics system, I guess. You know, we have different ethics at home, we have different ethics at work. I think every scenario calls for a different perspective. And I think looking from this call at what we've said about religion, people are inclined to form their own opinions on the issue based on what other people have said. And I think it's important that even though, you know, we might not know much about this subject, you mentioned that, so I think it still is important to actually say what we think about a subject, because it's always good to get feedback on an issue, no matter what. I think
if you don't have experience, you're basically just lying, right?
Oh no, but
it's really tough to make even an opinion on something you have no experience with.
But I absolutely agree. I think you shouldn't really form an opinion. I think it's the people that get attacked online are the people that form an opinion without any actual backup. You know, they don't know anything about the issue. I think you do need to know something about the issue, but I think it's more important to know how you've seen that issue from over the past couple of years. Like, obviously we don't have any experience with Eastern religion, but obviously you probably know a bit more than I do then, if you're saying what you're saying and I'm saying what I'm saying. But
well, that's what I'm saying. If your sources of Eastern religion are coming from Western media, then yeah, your belief system about that is going to be completely skewed. But if you look at it from an Eastern, if you look at it from an Eastern view, then your experience. So it's like, and then if you've been there yourself and you've lived with somebody, your beliefs are going to be completely different. So I think you don't want to ever think your beliefs are better than anybody else's, and that's where all these problems stem from. Everyone should be individual. Everyone should have their own beliefs, but never enforce them on other people, because that's when things like the master race turn sour. And on that note, I think it's been a while, so I think we've
been
come full circle.
Been,
a good couple of hours.
So
almost 2.5 hours.
I think that this episode really ties into our mission statement, which is to always be positive and always stay curious, because if you're not curious, what else are you? You're just going to be following somebody else. So on that note, thank you for tuning in. We'll leave any relevant links in the description. We'll leave Ryan's TikTok in the description for you all to tune into.
Guys, follow me on Instagram. I am on a mission to be the most followed Instagrammer.
Exactly. Everybody
most
help
followed
Ryan
TikToker.
achieve this goal.
Add me on Facebook. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow me on Twitter, on Grindr, Bumble. You can find me on Tinder. You could find me
At Ryan Kissick for all of these, by the way. So
you could find me enjoying women, wine, walking on the beach. Not at the moment. Sorry. The beach is outside of that 5 kilometer radius. So in a couple of months' time, you could find me enjoying wine and women on the beach.
Is that on?
And you'll also find him on episode 36. Ryan will definitely be coming.
I'll be back. I'll be back on episode 36.
So there'll be plenty more Ryan to come. So thank you for tuning in.
He's called an episode for himself. I find that hilarious.
Yeah. The 36th episode is the Ryan episode.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're gonna title it the Ryan
Returns or something.
Just Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan Returns.
Ryan Returns.
All right.
Yeah.
This time it'll be in person, hopefully.
Hopefully.
All right.
Alrighty.
Take care, everybody.
This was fun, guys.
Hope you enjoyed.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye.
Ciao.